Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. It is day 194 of the war in Ukraine. The United States Institute of War Studies reports that Ukrainian counteroffensive is making demonstrable progress in the south and east of the country and that Ukrainian forces are progressively moving forward against the enemy. Meanwhile, the continuing conflict is exacerbating the international economic crisis. The biggest turmoil in the energy market is yet to come. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov stated that Russia is ready to negotiate terms to end the war in Ukraine, but at the same time maintains a claim of denazification of the country. Kiev does not agree to the conditions imposed by Moscow. At the same time, President Vladimir Zelensky reports on further military successes and calls for acceleration of work on the 8th package of sanctions against Russia. I spoke to the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. I called for accelerating the provision of financial aid to Ukraine. We have discussed new steps on sanctions. The 8th package of sanctions against Russia should include a visa ban for its citizens. No one who participates in this war can benefit from European hospitality. The Ukrainian Operational Command South reported that soldiers had revolted in the Russian 127th Regiment of the 1st Army Corps and refused to participate in combat operations. The staff of the Russian army is trying to improve the difficult personnel situation. In Donetsk, even patients of nearby hospitals are mobilized to fight at the front. In Donetsk, invaders practice a new method of replenishing personnel losses. In recent days, representatives of the Russian army began arriving at local hospitals in the city and forcibly discharged patients. Yesterday evening in Kharkiv, a Russian missile hit an apartment. As a result of the shelling, 2 people were injured. Nearby buildings were badly damaged. I found it. It flew overhead while watching television. I was lying on the sofa and the shard must have gone through my room and then through my child's bedroom because I found it in the kitchen. Fortunately, it only destroyed windows and glass doors. Today, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Mihal met the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, to persuade her to fulfill her previously declared commitments to Kiev.
Yeah, the demands were for the European Union to live up to its commitments promised in terms of financial aid, but also military and logistical support. From a Parliament perspective, we made a commitment to do everything we can in the most efficient way possible, as we have since the beginning of this war, in order to do what we need to do for the answers to be given, whether from a practical point of view.
High inflation, fueled by the war in Ukraine, is a serious worry for many Europeans. The difficult situation is exacerbated by today's closure of the Nord Stream 1 pipeline. Gazprom does not announce when the fuel flow will resume. Russia is no longer a reliable energy supplier. It's part of the new reality. The German government prepared for such a scenario. Already at the end of this year, approximately 10 months after the start of the war, the first LNG terminals will be operating in the North Sea.
Etwa 10 Monate nach Beginn des Krieges.
The decision of the Russian concern contributed to an increase in energy prices in Europe, but at present we are dealing with their stabilisation. According to Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, the European Commission's strategy to fight the energy crisis is ineffective. I demand real action from the European Commission to reduce energy prices in Europe, and this is the basic action, the basic goal. Charles Michel, President of the European Council, said on Saturday that the European Commission should not delay in resolving the energy crisis. In his opinion, the community must limit the maximum price of gas from the east as soon as possible in order to mitigate the effects of the Kremlin's blackmail on European economies. Canadian police said on Sunday that they were on the hunt for 2 suspects believed to have killed 10 people and injured at least 15 others in stabbings in Saskatchewan province.
At this point in our investigation, we have located 10 deceased individuals in 13 locations in the community of James Smith Cree Nation and Weldon, Saskatchewan. Several additional victims have been injured, 15 of which at this point have been transported to various hospitals. There may be additional injured victims who transported themselves to various hospitals. Let me be clear, we are still looking for the 2 suspects. We are asking residents across Saskatchewan and our neighboring provinces to be vigilant. At this stage in our investigation, we believe some of the victims have been targeted by the suspect and others have been attacked randomly. The 2 suspects are Damien Sanderson and Miles Sanderson. Damien Sanderson is described as a 31-year-old male, 5'7", 155 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Miles Sanderson is a 30-year-old male, 6'1", 240 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes.
Police named Damien Sanderson and Miles Sanderson as the 2 suspects and said they were traveling in a black Nissan Rogue.
If Damien and Miles are listening or receive this information, I would ask that they turn themselves into police immediately. They are considered armed and dangerous. They are believed to be in a black Nissan Rogue SUV with Saskatchewan license plate 119 MPI. At this point, we don't know if they have changed vehicles since this morning. Their location and direction of travel is unknown.
The attacks in Saskatchewan province were among the deadliest in Canada's modern history. A statement by Indigenous leaders indicated they may have been drug-related. The nation's elected elders declared a state of emergency. Police bulletins urged people to report any suspicious persons and to take precautions including sheltering in place, while warning against picking up hitchhikers or approaching suspicious people.
UK Foreign Minister Liz Truss has been elected the new leader of the ruling Conservative Party and will replace Boris Johnson's Prime Minister tomorrow. Truss will be the third, after Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May, female head of a British government. Tomorrow, Truss will travel to Scotland to meet Queen Elizabeth, who, in accordance with constitutional practice, will ask her to form a government.
Well, thank you, Sir Graham. It's an honour to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. I'd like to thank the 1922 committee, the party chairman and the Conservative Party for organising one of the longest job interviews in history. Thank you very much. I'd like to pay tribute to my fellow candidates, particularly Rishi Sunak. It's been a hard-fought campaign. I think we have shown the depth and breadth of talent in our Conservative Party. I will deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow our economy. I will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues we have on energy supply.
Truss defeated former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak in a vote of Conservative Party members, winning 81,326 votes to 60,399. Today, Britain said they hope their new Prime Minister Liz Truss will enforce policy changes that will tackle the surging cost of living, driven by soaring energy bills, industrial unrest, a looming recession and war in Ukraine.
I expected it. I thought she fought a good campaign. Personally, I'm sorry that Johnson was ousted in the way that he was. And all of this parliamentary investigation, I think, is going a step too far. But I think she fought a good campaign, and I'm not surprised that she's been voted in.
Does it make me feel warm and cuddly and soft all over? Not really, because nothing will change. She'll talk a few things, she'll make a few token efforts, then ultimately things will default back to how they were. Nothing will change. I mean, they've been faffing around for the past month or so, where they could have actually been trying to sort out actually the horrific cost of living, and we'll know we'll do it after the election. Nothing will change.
Truss takes the helm at a time when wholesale gas prices, driven higher by the Ukraine war, are hitting countries across Europe. But the United Kingdom is particularly dependent on gas for electricity and heating, pushing its inflation rate above all other major economies. During her campaign, Truss vowed to press ahead with promises of tax cuts and to deal with the growing energy crisis.
In the north, we really need the help, I think, and she just said she's going to help all that. Like, she said she's going to help with energy costs, living costs, and that's what we really need, really.
I'm not really swinging one way or another. I think Rishi and Truss could be just maybe the devil we know and the devil we don't. I think they could just be as bad as each other, but I'm optimistic and hoping for a good turnout and that they're going to bring in some decent policies.
The announcement triggers the start of the handover from Boris Johnson, who was forced to announce his resignation in July after months of scandal saw support for his administration drain away. Boris Johnson will travel to Scotland to meet Queen Elizabeth tomorrow to officially tender his resignation. Truss will follow him and be asked to form a government by the monarch. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.